And good morning. Happy December 17th, 2022. We're a little over a week away from Christmas here in the States. Hope everybody's doing well. If you need IT consulting, reach out at williehowe.com. Click hire us, click contact us. Even if you don't need consulting, you need to reach out about something, you found a bug, you want some advice. Just don't be one of those people that writes me. I've had two types of people writing me lately. One, people complaining about my beard. The beard's not going anywhere as long as it's cold. I might trim it. The second type of person that has been emailing me are people that are very pissed off because I will not give them free hourly consulting. So there must be something about being on YouTube. People think you owe them for free, and my time is definitely not free. But welcome. Thank you for everyone for being here. Let's go over to the comments real quick. Good morning, Joe. Tech for Fun is Joe Trelli's in the house. Good morning. CH, good morning. Good morning to my mom, Denise. Good morning, David. Dave Robertson, good morning. David Anderson says, so when your NAS tells you a disk has issues, do you all just believe it? Yeah, I typically do, especially Synology. They're pretty good at that. Morning, Bob Carpenter. Bob Carpenter in the house. Good morning, Tony with Quick Tech Solution. Tony in the house. Gordon, Gibby, Justin. Let's see. David, JH. Yeah. So, boy, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Grandstream switches, and I know Tony has been talking about that. He's done a couple videos. I haven't done any videos in depth because I don't have a switch yet. I can't even buy them. We'll get to that here in a minute. And then look at this. So if you watched Tony's live stream, we were talking about these USB-C rechargeable AA batteries. You're supposed to be able to charge these things 1,200 times. They're supposed to keep their charge for a very long time. My eyes, y'all can relate, getting old and I can't see anything, but check this out. So this battery has a USB-C plug on it right there. Supposed to be able to recharge it. It's lithium ion. It is 1.5 volts, 2,600 milliwatts. Can charge it 1,200 times by Smart Tools. I'm going to do a video on these. I'm going to leave it on the channel with an affiliate link, but I am going to track how many times I charge these over the next couple of years, and we'll see. And I'm sure the more you charge them, the less that they're going to hold their charge. It did come with a really nice dual head USB-C charging cable. I left that in the other room, but it comes in a 4-pack. And a lot of devices that I have recommend lithium-ion batteries, right? So the lithium-ion batteries last much longer. So I will tell you in my Blink doorbell, they recommend Energizer lithium-ion batteries. So I bought some of these Duracell long-lasting batteries. So the lithium-ion that came with the Ring lasted an entire winter and almost another year. The first set of the Duracell long-lasting batteries lasted 2 months, right? So I put the other set in there, and I'm waiting for them to die as well, and then they'll get replaced with a pair of these. So yeah, Jeremy, if Jeremy's in the house, I didn't see him there. Oh yeah, there he is. There's Jeremy. Jeremy, you were my inspiration. I got my 4-pack of batteries, and we'll see how this experiment goes. Yeah, I do have to be ready to play Santa. So my wife, the other day, I got out of the shower, and she's like, "Oh, you got soap in your beard." No, it's pure white there. There's a pure white spot here. I'm gonna name this pure white spot Wyatt. This pure white spot is William, and then the next one will be Lissa. So, Joe, that is a good idea to have the tally behind me. So what I might do is, if any of you are subscribed to Bite My Bits, Jason over there has a device that displays your current, you can actually display your current Twitter followers, you can display weather, you can display stock tickers, you can display your YouTube subscriber numbers. Maybe I will get one of those and mount it, Joe, and then we can increment it, and it can switch back and forth. We can have, the amount of subscribers or amount of people on the live stream, and then we can have the number of times the lithium-ion batteries have been charged. All right, back over to the comments. Good morning, Michael Cooper. Merry Christmas to you too, Michael. We are doing well. Gibby says, I just ordered the Grandstream 8-port PoE. Where did you order it from, Gibby? Because none of my distributors have it in stock, and we're going to look at that here in just a second. Tony and I were talking about that a little earlier. Dave Robertson says, I have one of each of the PoE models on order, but NTS does not have them yet. Yeah, and in fact, NTS had pulled them off their site, and now they're back. So Grandstream keeps telling us in all the webinars that I've been in that they've been in the United States and that they're being distributed and that they're at their warehouse. But my contact has gone completely silent on me. Now, it is the holidays, so I've got to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But we'll see. I mean, they were supposed to, they launched, December 1st. I was, because of Wispapalooza, I got invited to a special webinar that they did just the people that attended Wispapalooza were invited to, and they told everybody there, they're launching December 1st. You'll have them December 1st, and now we don't have them. But I'm not going to. Gibby says, Streakwave. That's funny because I've got the Streakwave page pulled up, and the availability says to email them. So maybe all of them have been spoken for. We'll take a look at that here in a second, Gibby. Jose, I already talked about that. Yep, Bob. Okay. All right, cool. JH says, finding access switch brands that have the features I need is really hard. I need dual hot swap PSU virtual stacking. Yeah, that is for an access layer switch, JH. That is that's a pretty demanding list, to be honest with you. But I could see it like in a medical environment where you have to have that redundancy, right? So some of the medical providers around here are actually deploying Extreme, the fabric-based switching. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat technology. In fact, if you go out to Extreme Networks and you look at their largest hospital deployment, like one of the big hospital systems around here has won awards and is like one of their, their shining stars. So, all right, let's see. Let's hop on over to the small screen with camera. That's what I called that one. Real quick, a couple of other things, and I know we've talked about this. Tony is listening in the car in New Jersey, headed back south. Flew up 6 a.m. flight this morning. All right, so you flew up and now you're already heading back, or is that what you do, Tony, for fun? Besides ride the motorcycle, you and your wife, you hop a plane up north and then drive back? That sounds pretty fun. I could get behind that. All right, so back over here to the Grandstream page. They've got this new GRP series firmware for all the GRP phones. Good morning, Brian Murray. And it is supposed to be power-saving features to keep energy consumption down. So I think I would like to figure out how to run a good test on this. Now, Grandstream did a video on it, but you know how it is when a manufacturer does a video on something. They know what to avoid and, to get the best possible outcome. So we're going to have to give this a shot. I'm going to talk to James about this. And then the other thing is, don't forget that you now have a 3-year warranty on your GWN access points. And I think the switches are going to have 2 years. But marketing said that the longest warranty of any of their manufacturers is 18 of their competitors was 18 months in the last webinar, and that's not true. TP-Link has a lifetime warranty for the switch model. Ubiquiti has 2 years if you get it from them direct, so I'm not sure where they got it. So Tony says he flew up to help his sister with the drive to North Carolina. Oh, all right. That sounds kind of fun. Sounds kind of fun, Tony. Well, have a safe drive, and tell your sister we said hi, everybody here. Wishing everybody the best today. All right, so let's take a look at these switches. They are the GWN 7800 series of switches, And they're going to have 8, 16, and 24 gigabit ports with SFP ports. Now, they keep saying in every webinar that next year they've got layer 3 and layer 3 plus, which I don't even know what layer 3 plus is unless that is stacking. I don't know if marketing is inventing new terms, but I'm excited to see that. They also have a direct replacement for the GWN 7000 coming next year. So the routers they released this year are these Wi-Fi routers, the routers with Wi-Fi in them. Their old router was a GWN 7000, which did not have Wi-Fi, but had a lot of features, needed a little love. They have a direct replacement coming for that next year. So I am looking forward to that. If we take a look at the switches, the prices are pretty attractive. Now, these are MSRPs, and this is from Streakwave. So every one of the availabilities that I hover over says to email them for availability. So Gibby must have bought up the last of our switches. Gibby! But these prices really aren't that bad, right? So you've got a 24-port PoE switch with 4 SFPs, MSRP $399. Of course, if you log into Streakwave, anybody who's logged into Streakwave knows that these prices are much lower than what they show. And it says that there's 60 on order. So someone who's familiar with the way Streakwave's portal work, does that mean they have 60 outstanding or that they are expecting 60? Can somebody help us in the comments on that? And Joe Trelli says, I just wish there was a multi-gig or 10-gig switch from Grandstream. Well, Joe, strap in and hold on, because next year they are going to release exactly what you're looking for. That's what they're telling us. I, for one, am super excited to get these switches in my hands, because now this means full stack Grandstream, and especially when we get that GWN 7000 direct replacement, that'll have probably more horsepower than the GWN 7062, which is it's a great router. But once we get something that's got a little bit more horsepower, and they're not telling us about the features, so I'm assuming their firmware team is building out features that we're seeing in other devices. And I'm assuming, and you know what assuming does, but I'm assuming we're going to have some real direct competition to some of the other players here pretty soon. All right, let's take a look at this, the data sheet here. All right, so smart power control. Does everybody disable that smart power control on their switches? Let's see. They're going to have I know they're going to have dynamic VLANs. They talked about that. It's going to have QoS, which will obviously pair directly up with the Grandstream access points. They're going to have the initial 6 models. They're going to support IP version 4, IP version 6. Just trying to hit some of the highlights here. If I start throwing out IEEE standards, people are going to go, what? Let's see. 8, 16, 24 ports, 2 and 4 SFP ports. And then on your 8, 16, and 24 ports, all of the ports, if you get the PoE, you are going to have all ports with PoE, and you can see like their big switch is going to have 360 watts of PoE, AF, AT. Now, when I say standard PoE, that's what I mean is a standards-based PoE, right? An AF, AT, or BT switch. And I get some flack on some of my videos because I say standard PoE. Well, what is standard PoE? Standard PoE is AF, AT, or BT, right? It's where a device has to send a special frame in order to receive PoE. Unlike a passive device, which every manufacturer that does passive PoE can do whatever the hell they want, but it indiscriminately sends power down the line, which can cause all kinds of issues. So that's what when I say standard PoE, that's what I mean. AF, AT, BT, and what other standard where we're not just flooding an Ethernet cable with power. So, but I understand people, people have this chip on their shoulder with people who create content, and we're always wrong about everything, and they've always got to be right. So keep on keeping on. Let's see. Auxiliary ports does not look like it's going to have a console port on the switches. Let's see. No, there's a console port. I wonder why it didn't say that under auxiliary ports. Let's see. Oh, yeah, console port right here. So it's its own section. It's going to have one. And then your auxiliary port is a standard reset pinhole. So that's, I mean, we need that. It's going to be store and forwarded instead of cut through. So if you're wondering what that is, do some Google searching. I have not done a video on store and forward versus cut through switching. Total non-blocking throughput is going to be 28 gigabits. Switching capacity is going to be 56 gigabits, but you're only going to be able, so capacity versus throughput. I did a video, I think, on this, where your switch fabric capacity, yes, is each port is 2 gigabits. Why is it 2 gigabits? Because it's a full duplex switch. So you can send and receive 1 gigabit per port at the same time. But the total non-blocking throughput that this switch has is only 28 gigabits per second. So there's a difference between your capacity and your actual throughput. All right, so for our switching, we're going to be able to have 8,000 static, dynamic, and filtering MAC addresses, 4,000 VLANs. You're going to be able to do port-based VLANs, standard 802.1q, VLAN tagging, and it's going to have that auto voice VLAN, which if they, if all the pieces are adding up here, like I said, I haven't had my hands on one of these yet. You know, it should do like an auto QoS, right? So it automatically throws all the configuration at the switch port to make voice the priority. Or maybe they're going to include video too, because they do video conferencing. And JH is right. The buffer is also a limiting factor in forwarding and throughput. So, okay, so let's talk about why that was asked. So Brian Murray says, with multi-gig switching becoming more common, I'm becoming more interested in ASIC design and buffer sizes. Seeing a need for QoS for asymmetrics uplink to edge port speed, especially with video connection, voice over IP. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything that, voice has a maximum latency of 150 milliseconds, right? So after you hit 150 milliseconds, then you start seeing all kinds of weird issues that happen. Now, if we go into a network, and by the way, we won't just haphazardly anymore deploy phone systems. We don't do that. We do a network readiness assessment. And if you can't do VLANs, we won't sell you a phone system. You can go buy it and you can have some other company install it and set it up. But if you can't do voice VLANs and a voice VLAN, and we can't ensure that there's going to be QoS, we won't deploy on your network. So back to the switching. We are going to do, it's going to have VLAN virtual interfaces. So that's with your L2 plus, your layer 2 plus, your static routing, right? So you can have multiple VLAN interfaces that have layer 3 addresses. GVRP, or that is going to be dynamic VLANs. You can do 8 lag groups. It's going to have spanning tree. It looks like it's going to have STP, RTSP, and MSTP out of the box. All right, so for QoS and ACLs, it's going to have auto detection and prioritization of voice, video, RTP, SIP, and other latency-sensitive packets. So yes, they are going to be able to auto sense that traffic, which is wonderful. Cisco has had this for years, right? Anybody who's ever dealt with Cisco, you can turn on auto QoS, and then you can go look at a switch port configuration, and it literally adds, I don't know, probably a dozen lines of stuff to each port, and then a boatload of stuff to the configuration to make sure that QoS, so that your SIP works flawlessly. We are going to have port priority mapping, queue scheduling, included all those different other kinds of queues. If you want me to do a video on all the different types of queues for QoS, after this live stream, leave a comment. We're going to do traffic shaping, rate limiting. So rate limiting, you're going to be able to rate limit at the switch port if that's in line with everything else. And then we're going to be able to do 1.5 thousand ACLs. So ACLs are kind of like a firewall for your switch, but you can manipulate entire networks worth of traffic with ACLs. ACLs are built differently than firewall rules. ACLs use a different type of mask. And with ACLs, you need to be careful because you can easily lock yourself out of the switch. So when you start doing ACLs, have your switch at your desk so that when you do lock yourself out, you can factory default the switch and start over, because it will happen. DHCP, it will have a DHCP server, probably for those layer 2 plus functions. DHCP relay, it's going to support option 82, 60, 160, and 43. Maintenance, CPU and memory monitoring by SNMP, Armon, LLDP, MED. We're going to have backup and restore capabilities, syslog, alerting, diagnostics, including ping, traceroute, port mirroring, UDLD, and copper test. I basically ignore the copper test in every switch that I have. All right, security. Let's see. I don't know why Telnet is even mentioned. Telnet should not be mentioned in anything that doesn't absolutely have to have it, and should be disabled by default. So user hierarchical management and password protection, which probably means we're going to be able to have different levels of users. So you're going to have a user that can log in, monitor the switch. You're going to have a user that can make system-wide changes, and then who knows what your other levels of security are going to be. Like I said, I haven't touched one of these yet. HTTPS, SSH. You're going to be able to do 802.1x authentication. You're going to be able to integrate with Radius servers. You're going to have storm control, port isolation, port security, sticky MAC. So port security, sticky MAC, and port isolation, all common in modern switches. You're going to be able to do IP source guard, denial of service attack prevention, ARP inspection, DHCP snooping, loop protection, including BPDU protection, root protection, and loopback protection. And of course, the rack mount switch is going to have a Kensington security lock port on it. All right, over to the comments real quick. JH says, I know a switch brand out there that is starting to add in GPUs for processing and buffering. Doesn't surprise me. GPUs are so powerful. Joe says, hey, can you describe the porting number process on Telnex? How long, how much pain can it be done via console? Joe, don't even know what that means via console. So you do the porting process via their web application, because there's paperwork that has to go along with porting, and that's not Telnex telling you that. That's the industry standard that you have to submit certain types of paperwork. Now, I don't know if because you work for the AWS Voice SDK group, Chime, right? I don't know if you're asking for that or if you're just asking for yourself. But the port process with Telnex is super duper easy. JH says, one feature I'd love to see is someone add is built-in packet capture. It's really the only feature I like in Meraki, but I hate paying for a network. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, packet capturing, if you could, instead of doing the port mirroring, if they had like a dedicated something, JH, where you could put an SD card or put a USB in there, and then you could direct packet captures to that device and then pull the file off of it. That'd be pretty cool. TVJ in the house. Mykala says, Grandstream DDNS mobile setup, please make one video. So if I had one place where Grandstream was like, hey, Willie, you deploy a lot of this. You and James touch a lot of Grandstream stuff. What is one thing that could be improved? Their DDNS is not good. We need Google. We need Cloudflare. We need, we need a custom option. I mean, I can get around it right now, right? If I have a Dyn DNS account, and what I can do is do A records, but from my other, from Cloudflare or from Google, but I don't want to do that. So, Joe says, sorry, meant website. Sorry, in AWS land, we call it the console. Asking for myself, not for market research. Can you provide me some free tech support? LOL. Joe, anything for you. It's very easy, Joe, but you have to have a copy of your bill, and then there's some other paperwork you have to fill out to say that you're the authority that is allowed to port. The phone numbers you can port as quickly as a day sometimes, or sometimes I've seen it take 2 weeks. So it's very easy. They actually walk you through it. All right, back over to the sheet here. Okay, so here's why you have a Kensington lock, is because your 8-port is going to be desktop or wall mount. And so they're not going to include rack ears for the 8-port, but the everything above that, the 16 and the 24 port, will be desktop wall mount or a rack mount with the rack mount brackets included. Thank goodness. Like Cambium decided that they were going to start leaving out the power cord and rack brackets in their switches. And I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I don't think they actually did any market research. I think it was a cost-cutting effort. We're not going to talk about the LEDs. Let's see. So the only... this is interesting, though. The only devices that have fans are going to be your 16-port PoE and your 24-port PoE are the only ones that have fans. Everything else is passively cooled. I don't know kilograms to pounds. But, yeah, so I cannot wait to get my hands on these switches. And you know that we will be doing... lots of videos on these switches. Lots of videos. But if you look, so here's, thank you, Streakwave. Streakwave converted the kilograms to pounds. And so that 24-port PoE switch weighs 9.25 pounds, or freedom units, Bob Carpenter. Freedom units, Bob Carpenter. I'm just messing with you. All right. So, what else were we going to talk about? So, I can't wait to get the Grandstream switches. In the meantime, Ingenious and I have rekindled our affinity for each other. I'm supposed to be getting one of these Ingenious gateways in stock. Now, they are going to have several models of these. Right now, Streakwave has 7 of these in stock. They are MSRP $5.99. Of course, if you log in, it's going to be cheaper than that. But Ingenious, for the price, I'm getting ready to do some Ingenious videos. First of all, on this switch that they sent me, which is a competitor for any half-rack 12-port SFP Plus switch. And they sent me the single mode. So I can't do a video on it yet because I had to order some single mode fiber, because they sent single mode SFP Plus adapters, and everything that I do is multi-mode. I'm also going to stick the micro tick multi-gig adapter in there, and we're going to test with that. So as soon as my as soon as my single mode fiber comes in, I will be doing a video on this. So I'm super excited about this, but I'm even more excited about their gateway and some of the features that Ingenious has been bringing to their access points. I hope other manufacturers are taking notice, because now at a price point of a Ubiquiti access point, of a Grandstream access point, of an Ingenious access point, of a TP-Link access point, Ingenious is bringing features that we normally saw in a Ruckus or name a larger vendor, right? So their APs, along with this gateway, you can send an AP home with an employee, and the AP itself will auto create a VPN back to this gateway. And now that AP is now the employee's home portal for the remote network. And that is absolutely fantastic. So I can't wait for this either. Ingenious, I'm super excited about this. Now, you will not be able to manage this via their on-prem controller. This will be cloud only. Yeah, Aruba does it. That was the other vendor I couldn't think of. Aruba HP. Yeah, but that auto VPN. So here you go, employee. Here's a $199 access point. Take it home. It's Wi-Fi 6. Can plug a phone into it. Whatever. It's going to auto create that VPN back to HQ, and now you have access. So the other thing is, I'm thinking about doing a video where I take this Edge Router X and I put Open WRT on it. Just to see kind of what is up with Open WRT. What do you all think about that? All right, we're going to go over to the comments real quick. Joe says, I cannot wait for you to get one of those switches. I cannot wait for me to get one of these switches, Grandstream. Even Tony or Joe says, so only the small one is not rack mountable. Correct. But I'm sure somebody is going to come up with a rack mount option for it. I also probably don't know if they're going to recommend rack mounting the 16 or the 24 port if you go with the passive cooling option. I don't know. Dave Robertson says, hey, Joe, you have to upload a recent copy of the current phone bill and a signed LOA. Then they will give you a porting date. What's an LOA? Letter of agency or letter of authorization, saying that you can port the numbers. All right, so they will immediately send you an email with an incorrect porting date, followed up with another email with the correct porting date. So Tom says, awesome on the Ingenious. Yeah, I totally agree. Tech for Fun, Joe says, but Willie, the Switch isn't white and pretty and doesn't have a matching toolless rack and matching keystone plate. Yeah, but it's got a 3-year warranty. It's got a 3-year warranty. It's going to be available. And you're not going to get locked into some sort of weird relationship of whatever, you know. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream, y'all. Bob Carpenter says 2.2 Freedom units to 1 kilogram. I don't think that would pass the ISO abbreviation standards. Bob, you and I now need a website that converts Freedom units to kilograms. We'll have Tim write us just some program that just people can randomly put garbage in there and it just spits out Freedom units. JH says, I rip out multi-mode everywhere. Everything I do is OS2 everywhere. Tom says, did 2 of the fiber switch love the UI? Tom, you must be talking about the Ingenious. JH says, less patch cables and SFPs I have to have in stock. Yep. Bob says, +1 for WRT on the ERX Alphabet Soup. Yeah, I think that sounds like a good Christmas, New Year's whiskey drinking project. Bob says, warranties are better. A can of spray paint can fix the colors, right? Little masking tape. Right on, right on. All right, so we've got to get a move on here. Make sure you like the stream, like the channel, subscribe. Hope everybody's doing awesome. We'll have to see what's going on this week as far as what's going on in tech. I don't know if it's going to be quiet the next 2 weeks as far as firmware updates and things like that. Probably bad guys trying to do security breaches. That's probably going to be through the roof. But Joe says, can you do the WRT thing in a long live stream? You know, that's not a bad idea. And I'm wondering too, I've been thinking about doing some longer live streams where I can teach things and explain things. But I've been thinking about doing them on a platform where people can send me tips and things like that. So I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. But definitely, yeah, that'd be a sweet live stream. Maybe that'd be our first Bits and Bourbon. That we were, James and I have been talking about getting Bits and Bourbon off the ground for a year now. Let's see here. So maybe that'll be it. Tony says kilograms times 2.2046 equals. But my wife can actually do that in her head. She works in the medical field, and she can actually do that conversion scarily fast in her head and get it approximate. Brian says, what online game service will get denial serviced this year? I don't know. JH says, can you email your Synology contact? What do I need to email them about, JH? Good morning, Albert. JH says, Twitch a lab with me thing. Yeah, I'm thinking about something, but you got to get to so many, I don't know all the nuances of Twitch. I almost feel like these things are like starting to pass me by, like all the nuances of all these. So JH, are you looking for a sales contact or a marketing contact, a technical contact? Because I have different contacts than most of the general public have. And I have to be careful how I share some of those things. So, marketing, not a problem. Sales, not a problem. Technical, I probably can't give you my direct technical contact. But just shoot me an email and let me know. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. Go watch all of the other creators that are going to be live streaming today, tomorrow, this week. Go support all the creators. Everybody puts a lot of hard work into making sure this stuff is out there and available for you. So Mike is teasing us from Mexico, sunny and 65 degrees, which, by the way, Joe, that's a good idea. Joe says Patreon only live stream, $5 to join, then people can cancel if they want to. That would be fantastic. But Mike brought up something. We got some Unify Protect videos coming. I can't wait, but we can't do it yet because it's in early access. But Unky Joe at the top of the hour. I got to roll out of here. I got to go pick up a FedEx package and go get some other stuff done. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Be awesome. Be safe. Happy holidays. I'll probably see you Christmas Eve or before. So, everybody, thank you for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And have a fantastic Saturday.